Welcome to TRS Clips, where you'll find happiness through your own curiosity. I know the mindset of all my friends in engineering college who went to America right after college. Neither you nor me are from an IIT or BITS or what have you.
Sure.
That range of engineering colleges. We're from that second rung or maybe the third rung. I don't know about your college. But I'm pretty sure you're also in like a similar boat to me.
Yeah.
My direct question to you is, how does a brown guy like yourself, who's gotten out of an Indian engineering college, pardon my language, have the think about growing a business of this size?
Sure.
Because I don't see that a lot with a lot of my friends who've gone to America, with everyone I know who's gone to America. Not a single person that I know of is consciously thinking of starting a business. Everyone just wants to have a comfortable work-life balance situation, have a comfortable salary, and have a lot of sex there.
Sure.
These are the brackets that they are enjoying about USA. There's a lot of stuff that they don't enjoy about America. I've not heard one of them talk about building a business. Or in fact, the first brown guy I know who started in a regular run-of-the-mill engineering college in India and then went there and built a massive global business. So let's talk about guts and let's talk about that early vision. And maybe let's also talk a little bit about your career path quickly so that people have context.
Sure. Those are all loaded questions, so I'll go step by step, and you may have to sort of get me back to.
The first question is, give a tiny answer on your career path.
Sure. Yeah. So Plivo was actually not my first startup. My first startup was in 1999. It was ironically also into VoIP. It was Delhi to Mumbai free online calling. So that was my first startup. This was in the time of Alta Vista, Lycos, back in the day. I was 16 back then. So that was my first one. So I think with me, you also said like what led you to that. For me, I was very clear I wanted to do something on my own. I don't know why, but that's been within me like from childhood.
You didn't go to America right after engineering college?
No.
You stayed here?
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, starting something in US was never the thought, right? It was just that I wanted to do something on my own. So that was my first business, and that happened in India. Although my sponsors, like it was free calling, so somebody had to sponsor it. So the model was you had to listen to an ad before the call happened, and then somebody would pay for that. So the sponsors was from US, right? There was a platform in the US that would pay for it. So that was my first startup. We made about 5 lakh rupees in the first startup, 1999. I was in 10th, 11th.
You in your 10th standard you started your first?
Yeah.
Go on.
Yeah, so that was the first one. My second one was, so my third year of college, we built a humanoid robot as a college project. And then I commercialized that into a company. It was called Robonance. 2004 was the robot, and 2005 is when I graduated. And that's when I started a company around that.
How come you didn't get into an IIT and all that?
I, like everybody else, I think I prepared for IITs. I found it too theoretical. I was very disconnected very quickly. Like I love physics, math and chemistry. Chemistry not so much. Math and physics I love. Okay. But I can't sit and read books and answer questions. If it's practical is what gives me a kick. So, I've even done projects. So I had very strong fascination towards physics. So I built my first electromagnet in my 6th standard. Right.
Nice.
And like a EV car also the same time. My third one was a completely different one. This was a Momo fast food outlet, which later became a cloud kitchen.
Called?
Hunger Break in Ahmedabad. So by then I had been to US. I'd stayed there for a while, and then I came back and did this. That was an interesting journey. My second one, like I was saying, it made not too much money, but around 15 lakhs-ish. The third one, I lost a lot of money because of a lot of capex investment in like a fast food outlet and stuff.
This was right after engineering college?
No, engineering I graduated in 2005. I did the Robonance thing, the robotics startup. That didn't go too far, 15 lakhs. And then I took up a job. I was in corporate life for 2 years, 2.5 years to be precise. And then came and...
In India?
The job was in India, but I was traveling
to
various parts of the world. My job was a traveling job. Like I was a sales engineer. So I would travel with the sales team and do demos and presentations and all of that. So it was I would rarely be in Bangalore. Rarely. It was all over the place in terms of travel.
Why did you stay in China and Indonesia?
Yeah, so that came later. It came post the third one.
Okay, let's get back to the third one then. You lost money in that Momo startup.
Yes. So I lost, I had invested about 35 lakhs from credit card loans. All of my money was taken from that. I had all top tier credit cards because of my corporate life, all the travel I had. So every bank would give me top tier credit cards. I had a lot of credit limit on that. I maxed everything out, 35 lakhs. And
did you go broke?
Yeah, 35 lakhs were dead. So worse than broke.
You were minus 35 lakhs in terms of personal net worth.
Yes, minus 35 lakhs. So not broke. I think broke is a good place to be in.
How did it feel being that broke?
It is not easy, right? There were times where you had to literally take decisions on. So I was in Ahmedabad. It's very, very hot in Ahmedabad, 42, 43 degrees. So then literally decide am I going to spend that money on buying an AC, or do I invest that 15, 20, 25,000 rupees on doing something more for the fast food thing, right? So those kind of decisions had to be taken. So it's not easy. Then imagine sleeping under that heat. It was really hot, right? And I've not grown up in Ahmedabad, so I was not used to that heat. So yeah, it's not easy. And that's when you realize. So before that, 2 years of corporate life, I was a spendthrift. I still am a spendthrift. I was a spendthrift. I'd spent a lot of money on buying these, premium brand shoes and gadgets and designer watches. I was a watch buff. I don't wear watches anymore. I was a watch buff. So spent a lot of money on all of this. And that's when you realize, what do I do with all this stuff now? That's not going to help me pay off my loans. So I went through that phase.
You sold off all that stuff?
Yeah, at very cheap cost, because you had to get money somehow. Right?
Damn, dude.
Yeah. So that was I had a Wacker and Constantin watch, and that was insanely expensive, and I sold it at 80% lower prices.
Financially speaking, how was your childhood?
I come from a very middle class family. So both my parents were working, both mom and dad. And so I've seen a very typical regular middle class lifestyle where, lights are on 5 o'clock in the morning in the house and lights are only off by 10:30, 11 at night. So it's consciously, subconsciously, I came from that mindset that you have to work hard in life to make it. Right. And I think my parents are my role model in that. So a lot of this philosophy around, how hard do you work? How many hours do you work? All that. I don't even think about it. It's not even a question in my head, because that's how I've seen my parents work. And if they had not done that, I wouldn't be privileged enough to, be where I am, because they set the foundation for us as a family.
Okay. I often tell some of my younger teammates that even with all this podcast, this glamour, these clothes, etc., somewhere on the inside, I'm still a fitness trainer, because that was my first job. Sure. And I feel worried about even spending 1,000 or 2,000 rupees, even at this stage. And I think it's a very important trait to have in order to go long term in anything that you're doing. Would you agree? You need to be a little bit of a miser, or that middle class kid in you needs to be alive.
I use the word frugality, right? So yeah, same here.
Which is also probably the reason it manifests itself as prioritizing profitability in the business that you build. First, please earn money, because we know the value of having very little money.
Yeah. I think even today, right? Sometimes I have to remind myself, stop negotiating. I also have that, Delhi wala in me, where anywhere I go, I negotiate. So I have to remind myself, what are you doing? Why are you negotiating with this guy, right? So, but yeah, I think frugality is very, very important. It's even in the company, the way we run things, everything is we think from that mindset. Meaning, if this was my personal money, how would I deal with it? And then your middle class mentality comes in. Mike's also from the similar sort of background. So both of us align very well from that perspective.
Probably why Asians do well on a global stage. Asians in general.
Yeah, I don't want to generalize it. Right?
You've seen another side of it
also.
Yeah,
rich kid families are very different.
In India,
Asians, Chinese rich kids are super spoiled. Right? A Singaporean rich kids coming from a Chinese background. Right? There are a lot of movies around in Netflix as well. Those super ultra rich kid families. So I think it depends on your upbringing, your value system. I think some of those things built early in life are difficult to change over time. Some people do. for me, like I said, money was never important. I think money is needed. It's important enough so that you don't have to think about it. But beyond that, it doesn't give you a kick anymore.
So you're broke, you're at minus 35 lakh rupees. How did you go to zero from minus 35 lakhs?
Yeah, I mean, I just quit and got a job because I don't think I was enjoying it. I think that was the main reason I quit. It's a very Momo, like a fast food or cloud kitchen, a very operational business. Like if you don't show up, if you don't sell X number of momos every single day, you don't make money. In fact, I think the most enjoyable time of that, like at that point, was me building a robotic machine to build or to create momos or whatever, to make momos, I think is the right word, to make momos. That was my most enjoyable thing. So I quickly realized, like while I wanted to start a restaurant at some point back in the day, my heart was at tech. That was very clear then. So I said, okay, let me go back to tech again, finish off my loans, and then we'll figure out where to go from there.
Hey, if you enjoyed today's clip, make sure you check out all the other clips we've uploaded on this channel. You'll find a clip related to almost every single topic as long as you're willing to search for it.